You're listening to Self-Care-ish AF, the podcast, where we call out how self-care has been weaponized against women and reclaim it in our own terms. I'm Desiree Rue, licensed clinical social worker, digital nomad, and I'm Self-Care-ish AF. Let's get into it. Welcome back. I hope that you have had a really wonderful week, and I'm so glad that you've joined me again today. So listen, let's get right into it. In the last episode, I asked a question, just a general question, but I asked you who benefits from when you are exhausted. So think about it. Who actually benefits when you are not living in your full potential, when you aren't living the life that you really want to live? Who benefits from that when you dim yourself for others' comfortability? So I want you to actually think about it. And today I want to dive a little bit deeper into that question about who benefits from you going along to get along, from you not saying anything, and for you sometimes not speaking your truth. Just listen, what I know after 56 years of living, 35 years of working, actually more than 35. I probably started working. I think I was about 15 when I got my first job. So I've been working, 41 years? So 41 years of working. And just working with hundreds of women who are capable of everything, but they still run on fumes. They're still empty in a very real sense of the word. I want to be really, really clear about this, and I really want you to hear me, that your exhaustion is useful to someone, maybe several someones. And today, I'm going to name 3 categories of people and systems that I believe benefit directly from your exhaustion. The first is an industry. The second is the workplace. And the third might be sitting in your phone contacts right now. Okay? Probably just texted you a few minutes ago asking a question or needing you to figure out something in their life or make something happen for them, or making their emergency yours. So I want to talk about those 3 things. The first industry that I want to talk about is the wellness industry. I wholeheartedly believe that the wellness industry benefits from the exhaustion of people, and particularly women. The wellness industry is worth over $4 trillion globally. $4 trillion dollars. Big T. Big T. T as in trillion. Built entirely on the premise, right, that you need to get away for self-care. And I won't say entirely, because maybe entirely is too much of a generic word. If I had my own self in therapy, I would tell myself that that's a big generalization. Let's bring that down some, right? And so I won't generalize it to say entirely on the premise, but it is definitely a part of the plan, the strategic plan, to have consumers to believe or to tag self-care on many of its products, whether they're travel products or beauty products, or hospitality products. Certainly adding the tag self-care gets a certain type of consumer. Now, as a solo world traveler, I have literally traveled the world alone by my own self. And so I am not knocking traveling in any way, nor am I knocking the industry. I love traveling. Traveling is freedom to me. I love being in new spaces, whether it is around the corner or literally on another continent. But the industry of travel and wellness benefits from exhaustion and from us being fed half of the solution. And I talked about in the last episode that the solution, the true solution in my professional and personal opinions, includes a systematic approach. And that there is just simply too much information in one area as the solution to self-care. The solution to how we decision our lives based on our own unique needs. You could argue that the travel industry is staying in their lane. That's what they do. They're the travel industry. That's their area of expertise. And so they are speaking, from that area as one of the solutions to a big systemic problem. And you would be right. I'm not, again, this is not me saying don't travel at all. In fact, I want you to travel. I want you to get away. I want you to see all the things and the places that you want to see. I am just saying that there is a benefit, a very consumeristic benefit to you being exhausted, to you having a temporary fix to a very long-term problem. I believe that the wellness industry and some of the products, beauty products, again, things that we are sold and that they've slapped self-care on, because self-care is a trigger word for women, right? We want that. We want to get the self-care. So let me go buy this shampoo because it said it was self-care. Let me go and book this cruise because it's I'm going for my self-care. They said in the commercial, come and get your self-care on. But in my opinion, that it reinforces escapism and it aligns it with a form of self-care, that self-care is about escaping your problems. It has an external solution only and not an internal route. And so again, the same way that the jewelry industry, told us that diamonds were a girl's best friend. You didn't come into the world knowing about diamonds and their cuts and seeing people getting big rings. You saw that on TV first. You heard it in a jingle. It was always marketing to get us to start buying diamonds, right? And now, we're buying, the diamond, the whole scenario. We see it play out on TV first, and then we want it to play out in our own lives. That's on purpose. That is marketing. And a lot of marketing has happened in this, wellness space, particularly around self-care, to have us believe that certain things are self-care. Like the same way that the Chick-fil-A cow tells us to eat more chicken, right? We choose Chick-fil-A over going to Wendy's or Shake Shack or somewhere else, In and Out. Okay, listen, I say In and Out Burger, and now I'm wishing I could teleport myself real quick to California, get a burger, come back, because In and Out Burger was my jam. Loved it. I know some people don't like it, and that's okay. You cannot like it, but I can, and I do love it. But similarly, there is no, unfortunately, the cow can never tell me to go to Chick-fil-A over In and Out. It didn't work on me, but it works on some people, right? It gave you that unconscious note to eat more chicken. And I believe that the industry, the wellness industry, hospitality, they're all doing the same, because a woman who's really restored she doesn't keep buying vacations. She doesn't keep buying vacations to escape. She doesn't keep going away to escape. She's well. Now, maybe she travels because it's the thing that she loves to do. It is, a part of her lifestyle, but it is not her escape. And if you think about the last trip that you planned, was it a planned vacation to escape? Or was it a planned vacation to go relax? Or was it a planned vacation because you love vacations and, you wanted to take one? Because there's a difference. There is a difference. And when we are gearing up to go somewhere to escape, to get away, we are running away from our lives, which means we aren't really dealing with the issue, and the external pieces can't fix it. So the industry needs you to kind of always be in a state of needing to escape, in order for them to sell you that the vacation is the thing to escape to. We really need to get in a space. And when we do get into that space, because it is my hope and my mission in life to get you to understand that you do not have to escape your life, that you can be standing in whatever spot you are standing in right now with whatever is swirling around you, and close your eyes and call peace into your life and your mind through your breath and through your thoughts and through the very thing you do next when you open your eyes. Those things are in you. They are not external, and you can call on your power of self-care at any moment. I'm 10 toes down on it. I'm going to tell you that is actually possible. But when you are always trying to escape, you are always going to be participating as a consumer into the things that their people are telling you to come escape to. Retreats are wonderful. In fact, I host a retreat, right? I hosted a retreat and will be hosting one in the future, where I hope that women will come and take the opportunity to explore. However, it is not a retreat that is designed to escape your life. It is a retreat for you to come, change your environment, and let's talk a little bit more about getting back connected with yourself, what that feels like, so that when you go back home, you know what it feels like and you can keep it going. So, again, paying for rest is a product, right? And the wellness industry does benefit from us just not, from us just not having a full story. And so, who benefits? And again, that's the question of the hour. Who benefits from you being tired, exhausted, confused, not wanting to fight anymore, whatever, going along to get along, easier to just do it than to say anything? Who benefits from that? Because it's not you. It ain't. Well, maybe you think it is, and maybe it is in the moment, because in the moment it releases you from the chaos. It releases you from, the conflict. But what is it doing to your own soul? What is it doing to the mirror? When you look yourself in the mirror, what is it doing to her? What is it doing to him? What is it doing to you when you continue to downgrade yourself in order to make someone else comfortable? I know some really very smart, amazing people, and they are so smart and they are so amazing, but they so don't believe that they are. And so when they go in rooms, they shrink themselves. And then when people don't see them because they've literally balled themselves up in a corner, when people don't see them, they get offended because they're not seen, because their brilliance is not seen, but they cover their own brilliance up. They cover it up. And so someone who is less brilliant, but more willing to walk in the front to be seen, are the ones who get picked, the ones who get an opportunity, the ones who don't even have half of what this brilliant person has. But unfortunately, someone else has benefited from her dimming herself, and it wasn't her. So that is, that's my bone. It's the wellness industry. Think about, again, when you are planning your vacations. I have wonderful friends who also are in the travel industry. New businesses have been in the travel industry for years, blowing up, plan amazing vacations for people. I have had the pleasure of, being a part of the experiences that they have planned. And then what I am not saying is that is they want to keep you tired, but going on those trips from a place of exploration and fun and seeing something different and not having the expectation that the location, the destination, or the experience was supposed to take away all the difficult things in my life made the trip different. It made the travel different. It made the memory different from those trips than going to escape. Because you never fully rest when you are escaping and have to go back, right? And the going back is really in your mind as well as the external environment. But I'm going to move on because I don't want to get in trouble with my friends who, have these wonderful businesses and got trips coming up for the 2026 and 2027. I'm trying to get my coins together to go to. But again, think about the last trip you went on. And did you go to escape or did you go to explore? Because if you went to escape, I really want to help you have that next vacation be because you want to go explore, because you don't have a life you are running away from. You are living your life, and it includes seeing other places. Okay? Okay. Deal? Let's go. All right. Now, the second place that I want to talk about, we could probably have at least 20 episodes on this, is the trick of the workplace. Honey, the trick bag. The workplace really probably should have been number one because our entire capitalist society is built around us as the producers to produce, right? That is what business is about. Businesses are created to prosper, to make money. If it is a for-profit business, it is for profit. Some nonprofits still rely on money in order to fulfill its mission. Even though its mission is not to make a profit, they have to make money in order to pay staff, in order to implement the programs to serve the communities and the populations that they're serving. So work is about money. And the workplace relationship is transactional. I don't know how to say this to you in any other way but to say it. Work doesn't care about you. And I know some of you will want to fight me. Don't fight me. Don't fight me. Fight your mama. No, don't fight your mother, please. If you still have your mother with you, do not fight that lady, okay? Do not fight. You gave her enough problems. Or she hasn't given you enough yet, so there's still time. But that the workplace relationship is transactional. They did not hire you because you were a great person, because you were caring. They hired you to do a job, a very specific job, whatever it was. They hired you to do that. And in return, you all agreed on an amount of money that you would be paid in order to do the job. That's how that worked. So it's not a relationship where they care about you, truly. What workplaces have come to understand that human beings, people, need certain things in order to keep them at the place. Turnover costs companies money, which is why they don't want you to quit. They want you to stay for long periods of time because turnover is expensive. And so benefits are not about you. Benefits are competitive to make this job make you want to stay and not go somewhere else. So benefits are competitive packages. Again, this is not saying that the people on your job don't care about you, that you don't have a great work family. But here's the thing, the moment you stop producing, you will get fired because the relationship is built on you doing something. And sometimes we go to work and we expect our jobs to be our friends. We expect our jobs to give us, the time away that we need for our bodies and our minds and our families. We expect a job to be what the job was never designed to be. The job cannot replace you in your own life, and you shouldn't expect it to. And I think that's why a lot of people get very, a little disgruntled with the job or disillusioned at work because they have a wrong expectation of what the job was supposed to be. At no point, right? The job will always, something happens, they've built in 3 bereavement days. You've got 3 days to grieve. And then if you have a really emotionally intelligent leader or boss, they're going to recognize that maybe your production's going to be a little off for a while. Maybe you're not going to fully be there, but your body will be there. And it'll take a few weeks or some time for your mind to get back. But there is a limit to that. That's not like a 5-year thing. Like, that's not going to be where you take 5 years to bounce back and that's going to be okay, right? That's not what that's going to be about, because the workplace relationship is transactional. And when you understand that, you give the expectation of the relationship what it's supposed to have. I expect you to be my workplace. I expect you to ensure that I'm able to do my job. I have the resources that I need, and then I'm being paid fairly. I'm being paid well. I'm being paid with the value that I bring to the company. And if I'm not, I'm going to ask you, what's up? Like, when can I get my more money? Right? These are the things we expect. We expect the job to develop us. The job will develop you for the interest of the job. It is not going to help you do anything that is going to increase your skills in a way that it cannot be used for them. That is a relationship with the workplace. So again, who benefits when you are exhausted and really working at a high level, but to the cost of your own health? The workplace for sure. Listen, before we had labor laws, we did not. Okay, it took the law to force and enforce human conditions for working. So if it was not for the law, there would be no labor laws. They would just work us into the ground, because when it was legal to do so, that's exactly what they did. When I say they, I mean workplaces, organizations, So again, the workplace, who benefits? How does the workplace benefit? There is data around these things. So MIT and Yale researchers, they found that women outperformed their male colleagues consistently and were still 14% less likely to be promoted. Not because they were not good enough, because they were rated lower on what they called, quote unquote, potential. Potential. It's a word. It's a word really with, no real definition. No, how do you quantify potential, right? It's a word in their mouths that means we don't see you here. We really don't see you doing this. And then who is we? Okay. And what the research showed is that women outperformed even that underestimated potential rating, and they were still rated lower the next year. So what it shows is that bias in this instance, in this data, was not correcting itself. It was persisting and increasing on purpose. Who benefits when you miss your lunch and your dinner and your, all the negotiables that you have with your time when it comes to work? Who benefits? It ain't you, right? It's not you. Another study, more research done by McKinsey and Lean In, found that when women receive the same career support as men, the ambition gap disappears entirely. The gap was never in the woman. It was in what they were given. And when a woman will work and not demand the gap to be closed, they will let her work and keep that gap open. Why? Because they can. Because they can. Who benefits when you continue to give and you continue to complain and you continue to create at rates and speeds, and you are not satisfied with your pay? It is one thing to do it because you want to, and even doing it knowing, right, that knowing, no, I'm not getting paid what I was, or I'm not even getting paid what I should be. But there are so many additional benefits for working here. I'm comfortable here. I love it here. I feel good coming into work every day. That's not the issue I'm talking about. I'm talking about the person that literally has given everything to the job and is very disgruntled that the job has not given it anything back. It's not giving you anything back. It was never designed to give you anything but a paycheck and your benefits. And so you expecting more, sacrificing yourself for it, it's kind of on you, and they're going to take it. You can't be mad at a person or a thing or a system that takes what you give. I started this journey really out of being angry. When I say this journey, I mean my self-care journey, my deep dive back into me, into understanding what I wanted, because I came to a point where I realized, oh, y'all told me to act like this. You told me to say this. You told me to dress like this. You told me to not do this and not say this. And I did all of those things. And at the end of it, I was still hurt. I was still abused. I was still disillusioned. I was still, all the bad things still happened to me. And at that very moment, when that thing was over, that very moment that I walked out, I said, never again. I said, Desiree, you are mad because the people took what you gave them. You're mad because you wanted to be recognized for all the hours that you gave away, for the moments that you sat in a parking lot having a meeting when you should have been inside with your son. The moments when you stayed up all night to write a report when you should have been sleeping because you had something to do the next day. And you felt nobody thanked you. You're mad because you gave away something and they took it. And after that conversation, I became non-negotiable about what I give. And so whatever I give, and I give a lot, comes from a place only of yes, right? Only of recognizing, never from taking. No one takes my time because I won't give it to you. You can't have it. You can't have my time because if I've given it to you, I have given it to you freely and in love. And my word is bond. If I say I'm coming, I'm going to show up. If I say I'm going to do it, you can count on it. If you ask me and I say yes, it really wasn't because you asked me. Maybe there are some people that can ask me and I will never say no. I won't say no. I will do it because I love them so, so much. And so it is a pleasure to say yes to them. But I only say yes to them because it's a pleasure to do so, not out of any other obligation. So when we look at the workplace to be something more than it's supposed to be, we don't benefit from that. They benefit, right? The workplace has learned to extract the maximum output from you while limiting your advancement, and particularly for women. And I will always be talking to women because A, I'm a woman. And so A, I'm a woman, and B, I believe that this message not only carries, a lot of weight for people in general who are really seeking to get to their own, be able to live their life in their own ways, but particularly to women, because as a woman, I've experienced things that I feel qualified to talk about and to help other women who may have experienced some of the same things for the same reasons. So if you are not a woman or don't identify as a woman listen, this message is for you too. I'm just, I'm talking to the people that I know about as well. Okay. So don't take it any other way than that. This message certainly applies to you if it resonates with you. And if you are not a woman or don't identify as a woman, and you have a woman in your life, daughter, wife, sister, cousin, friend, coworker, know that these may be some of the issues that she deals with internally that she never spoke out loud. And so you can become an ally, and you can become educated, and you can speak to some of the feelings that she may not have words to right now. Okay? Okay. So just know that the workplace certainly benefits from you not being in your full self and not questioning what is going on around you. Studies show that when women are assertive, when we're ambitious, when we're self-advocating in the workplace, we are rated as less likable. Less likable. And likability directly affects hiring, promotion, compensation decisions. And I can tell you, this is true. From my own experience, I have certainly worked under leaders who have, and not only leaders, but peers who have seen my assertive nature to problem solving, to being a high performing individual, to being ambitious and self-advocating, and provided the feedback that I was intimidating, with the expectation that I become less intimidating. So that's less assertive, less ambitious, less self-advocating. That it was expected and hoped that I would perform at a level that I was not used to, which was lower, in order to make those around me feel comfortable if I wanted to be promoted. It happened. It happened. And I tried. But you cannot, you can't turn a elephant into a mouse. You can't do it. Can't, because I'm gonna be an elephant. That's what I'm gonna be. And I tried to be a mouse. It didn't work. It didn't work long. And then I realized I should never have tried in the first place. However, and so for women who, we have been, that the workplace benefits because they want us to be, right? The workplace benefits when we're always trying to prove and switch and change and not be who we are and not cause any problems and not hold them accountable for equal wages and, more opportunities, right? All of those things they try to make us believe are things we should not be advocating for. The things that we feel we deserve and that we earn and that we are capable of are things that we always have to fight for. And instead of asking, which we have tried, right, to say, why should a person have to fight for these things that other people don't have to fight for? Then they tell us that you shouldn't be asking for those things. That's a problem. So again, who benefits? Keeping us confused and afraid to make a wave, to ask a question, or to be found to be intimidating or difficult, right? To have someone else define and decide your potential, right? Who benefits? Who benefits? A tired woman is a manageable woman. A tired person and a person who doesn't want to fight in the workplace is always preferred. They don't want the person that's asking all the questions, that wants more, that is able to speak very intelligently, make the business cases for their promotions. They don't want that. And let me be clear. This is not a male versus female conversation. When I say they, I'm talking systematically. And this is not a BIPOC versus white conversation, because these truths are evident in many cultures. Okay, so that's not that conversation either, but this is a system of work conversation. And if you are a leader, listen, you are trained for the system's benefit. You are trained to ensure that the mission and the strategic KPIs are met. That is what you are trained to do. You are trained to be a good leader, not for the benefit of the people. You are trained to be emotionally intelligent. You are trained on preferred leadership styles in order to keep your people producing, working, happy, there, no turnover. And that is exactly what the business should be doing. I am not saying that the business is wrong. That's business. What I'm saying is we need to level our own expectations to the real relationship with work. Be your best at work because you are the best at how and what you do. But being your best, expecting them to love you for it is you're setting yourself up. You're in a transactional relationship. So you get paid for the work. Unless you're a volunteer. And then your reward is internal. Okay, you're not getting paid in wages or monetary ways. You're getting paid in internal satisfaction and the knowing of that you are contributing to the good. But when it comes to that job, that contract you signed with HR, yeah, you're going to do something and then they're going to pay you for it. That's it. Okay, and so again, who benefits when you are at work? Sacrificing your own personal needs to overwork, overcommit, to make magic, to meet the mission, to keep the KPIs, to make sure that your department is performing or outperforming. Who benefits when you do that? And you sell your own soul and your physical health to do it. It's not you. It's the workplace. So systems are benefiting from us not being in our full, confident, 100% selves. And so if you are looking for certain people to create that space for you to become the greatest you, to live your best life, I just want you to know that there's not a case for it because it does not benefit them to do it. And I want you to be aware of that. Now, here's the last one. The third, this third one right here, though. This one's personal, okay? This one could be the person that's sleeping next to you. It could be the one you brought into the world. It could be the one that brought you into the world, okay? Or it could be the one you chose to be family in this world. And this one sometimes is the hardest one to acknowledge, that they are benefiting from your exhaustion, that they are benefiting from taking from you. Someone in your personal life needs you tired and works in big and small ways to literally keep you there. And maybe not a physical tired, but certainly an emotional tired. An emotional tired to where you just can't think. You have no energy but to just acquiesce. And I know how that sounds, right? I know how it sounds. And I know that some of you just thought of somebody specific. Somebody's face popped up into your brain as soon as I said someone is benefiting from you being tired. And I know that some of you want to immediately defend them. You saw their face and then you said but, all in the same second. And that protective reflex toward that very person who drains you, it has a name. And that name is called trauma bonding. And before you tell me that that word does not apply to you, stay with me, okay? Because the trauma bond isn't always about a traumatic experience or dramatic abusive relationships. Trauma bonds can show up, anywhere. Sometimes we have trauma bonds, relationships with people that we work with. And usually a trauma bond relationship is when there is, you've bonded over something that you both is causing both of you some type of pain. And then what usually happens is one person gets over it. And then the relationship kind of loses its flavor because now we're just, we're not the thing that's binding us together, this event or this thing that happened or this thing that we believe is no longer, the big moment. And so if the relationship is based on trauma, when the trauma starts to heal, the relationship starts to change. Okay, so when we talk about trauma bonding in this sense, it shows up in the way that you have learned to manage someone else's emotions in order to feel safe, and not just physically safe, like you're afraid, like if this person is going to hit you or this person is going to do some harm to you. This is more like emotionally safe, meaning that you've learned to manage your emotions in order to feel like you did good for them, in order to prove to them that you love them, that they can be loved, they're worthy of love. In order for them to stay, right? You keep doing these things so they know you love them and they will not leave you. You've shown them that you love them so that means that you're worthy of their love. You've earned it. You're not like whoever it is you're trying to help them or whatever it is you feel like you're helping them through. And you almost do it automatically. And so when you've spent enough time making yourself smaller so someone else stays comfortable, your nervous system starts to read that comfort, their comfort, as your safety. It's like your nervous system says, okay, we're okay. They're okay, we're okay. They asked me to do something. I didn't want to do it. I did it. They seem happy about it. They seem relieved. We're relieved. And this is what we need to do to be okay. And it registers into your body that it's okay. Even though you may be physically exhausted, it took a lot out of you to do it. And even though it was really a lift that they could have lifted on their own, this bond, this trauma bond that you have, this thing that now you're just doing automatically. So when the problem becomes when you try to change the routine, right? So when they become threatened by your own growth, you then choose to protect them automatically before you even realize you're doing it. And what that could look like is this. Let's just say you said, you know what, I'm going to start reading books. This year is my year. I want to read some books. I haven't read. I don't really take time. I'm always going to go. I'm going to sit down. I'm going to get at least a book a month and I'm going to start reading books again. And you get a book. You've been online. People have been talking about this book. You get a book and you decide that you want to start reading a book and you're going to start doing it on Saturday mornings. You're going to get up. You're going to, have big breakfast. You have carved out time that only includes you. And immediately somebody smells that you're getting ready to do something different, which means that you may not be available for when they want you to be available for them. And all of a sudden something happens. They have an emergency. They asking you what you're doing. They need help. And immediately you put your book down and you go to do it. You don't say, hey, I'm not available right now. The phone rings, you answer it, the texts come through, you reading it and responding to it. It's like they can smell it. And any sense of hesitation on their part makes you start to reconsider without them even asking you not to do it. Sometimes you just abandon the thing that you say you were going to do for you because them asking you confirms that you can't do it in your mind. It's like the little confirmation. I knew I couldn't, try to have that. I couldn't try to do that. I couldn't try to do what I see other people doing. I knew it. Soon as I said I was going to do A, look what happened. I knew it, right? That reflex was not born in you. It was handed to you. And it was handed to you through socialization. And when I say socialization, I don't mean like just the people you were hanging around. I mean the things that you were taught, how you became a person, to put another person first and throw your own self down in a way is a part of a conditioning. And it happened in small amounts. It didn't all happen at once. It was really in what you were praised for when you were growing up and what was ignored and who got helped and who was expected to help. And then by the time you were an adult, you didn't think about it anymore. You just lived it. You just do it. You just jump in. Because now your nervous system says that when this person is okay, you're okay. And this person says, I'm only okay when you make me okay, when you do the things necessary for me to be okay. And nobody is considering you're okay. Everybody's considering someone else's okay. Who benefits when you don't have a clear knowing and understanding and focus on you? The takers in our lives are not always the villains of the story. Some of them are not it's not their desire to see us, not living our full potential. It is that their desire for themselves is greater. And the system has trained them for that too. I'll tell you a story about my grandgirls. The youngest is Aria. Aria will be 2 in a few months. And Peyton, we call her Pepe. Pepe is just turned 4. She just turned 4. So they're 2 years apart. And Pepe, Aria is already, she's the youngest. So, she already's figured out she get what she wants. And when she wants to play with Peyton's toys, sometimes Peyton will be playing with a toy, and then Aria will go take the toy, and then Pepe will say, Aria took my toy. And then her parents will say, let her play with it. Let her play with it. Just let her play with it. But that never happens. If Aria is playing with a toy and Peyton goes and tries and takes Aria's toy and Aria falls out crying, they say, Pepe, give Aria her toy back. Now, when I am watching her and watching the girls, if Pepe does not want to share, I do not make her. When Pepe says, I don't want to, I say, Aria, Pepe doesn't have to share everything with you. You have toys. Go get your toys. And when she cries, we just let her cry. Because Pepe has to know that there are some things that she can keep. She has to know that it is okay to say no, to want to have things of her own. They belong to her. And she doesn't have to give everything away that belongs to her. And so we're always teaching people to share, but we never teach our children. I don't say never, again, big general word. Not that we don't ever, because I'm sure many of you do. But sometimes we don't teach our children to honor other people's no's. And so they grow up to be the takers, and those that we pretty much condition, because you're the oldest, because you have the toys that they don't have, you have to share them. We condition them to not be able, or to believe that they are not able to keep things for themselves. They must always say yes. They share their time, they share their money, but they're not expected to get the same treatment from someone else. And so oftentimes what will happen is because Pei really wants Arya to ask her to play with things. So she'll say, Arya, can I play with you? Right? Because Arya has her own toys. And I don't know why the 4-year-old wants the 2-year-old toys, but sometimes she does. And when she says that, and Arya, starts acting like the grandbaby that she is, she got a lot of her grandmother in her. When she's like, no, then I say, well, Pei, Arya has a right to say no. Let's find you your toy to play with. They have to know that that's okay. Who's going to tell them? When do we start teaching them that? Now. And so when you are too tired to dream, too exhausted to plan, too depleted to keep the boundary, you've drawn the boundary, but they step over it, and then you get mad at them for stepping over it because you haven't really understood that it's not them stepping over the line that's the problem, is you're allowing it. That there's no consequence, there's no, people are going to push. Well, they won't stop asking, but you can stop answering. Well, if I hang up, they're going to keep calling. Okay. But you cannot answer. When we had regular telephones, I was the queen of hanging up. What? You think I'm going to stay on the phone argue with you? When I can hang that phone up, I was the queen of hanging up when you in the mid-sentence. Okay? Click up. You cannot answer. You can block them. Then you don't even know they're calling. So there's nothing that triggers any alarms in you. Again, we have the choices. Takers are going to take. They've been conditioned. Givers are conditioned to give. It does not mean that you don't give. It means that you recognize there's a benefit to others that does not include you. So I want you to think about, until we meet again, I want you to think about who gets more when you have less time, when you have less energy, when you have less money for you. Who is benefiting from that? When you give it all away, at the expense of what you have left available for you from yourself, who benefits from that? Because I believe that you should be benefiting from you. For as much as you give away, you should be keeping. You don't deserve leftovers, nor should you be serving them. You have to put yourself on your list because you benefit from it. Our brains are made. Our brain has the ability. It has the ability to rewire itself through a thing called neuroplasticity. And neuroplasticity is the reason why you are in the condition that you're in, simply from repetitive actions, your beliefs. And so everything you do has cemented into your brain at this point that this is the right way to go. This is, we take care of others. We don't take care of ourselves first. This is what we've learned. This is what we've been taught. This is what we do. And the moment that you start doing something different is the moment that the wiring in your brain changes. The very moment that you think differently about a situation, you literally are creating the new path. The wiring in your brain is now it's going to go in a different direction. And the way you keep it in that direction is repeated motion. So it is when you decide, my time is not negotiable right now. I said no. I'm not going. I'm not doing that. I think you can figure that out. I'm not going to answer the phone between 1 and 3. And don't answer the phone between 1 and 3 because the people who want to take from you are going to call you at 1:05 and they're going to call you 27 times until 3 o'clock when you answer. And then they're going to say, why didn't you answer? because they're conditioned to do that. They're conditioned. They don't take the no's. They're going to push because we've conditioned them to be able to do it. So if you came to this episode thinking that you were failing at self-care, thinking that, self-care doesn't work, you go on the vacation and then you come back and a week later, you're back in the same spaces, I want you to know and to understand. It is not more discipline that you need. It's not like another thing, another product. It is not the workplace to take the load off of your schedule so that you can think. Because even if they did that, you're not in a place, you're not a receiver. So it's a giver has a very difficult time receiving. What you need to do, or what you need to understand, is that what you're feeling has a name to it. What is happening are the systems have designed itself to keep you depleted for its benefits. Some of them are personal systems, some of them are industry systems for consumerism, and some of them is the workplace, for sure. Okay? I want you to have the accurate information and know what you're actually up against. Why? Because when you know that the system is rigged, Why? Because when you know that the system is rigged, you fight differently. When you know that the system is rigged, you fight differently. Think about the last time you genuinely felt rested, not just sleep rested, restored, like you had enough for yourself and enough to give to others. Then think about what happened when that feeling left. How long did you actually have it before it left? And who benefited when it did? And if someone comes to mind during this episode, someone who benefited from your exhaustion, I don't want you to be angry about it. I want you to be honest about it. Because honesty is where the real work begins. Systems were designed to keep you in this place. It's not you. But there are very specific things that you can do to beat the systems. Yes, you can. You have new information. I'm going to keep coming back and giving you more. Because when you change, everything changes. Every single thing changes when you change. Change your mind, you change your actions, you change your motives, you change what you believe for you, you change your position on the to-do list. When you change, everything changes. Every single thing. So think through that, be honest with yourself, and I will see you here next time. That's it for today's episode of Self-Care AF, the podcast. If something hit home, share it with a woman who needs to hear it. That's how we're going to disrupt this narrative together. Listen, come find me on Instagram or sign up for my newsletter. I'll put the links in the show notes. I'm Desiree Rue, and remember that self-care is not a reward for surviving. It's our superpower. See you next time.